Hello and welcome. The movie begins on a stormy night. In the middle of a heavy rain, with thunder crashing outside, a woman is walking up the stairs of her house. She heard strange sounds from the top floor and is holding a flashlight to see in the dark. She calls out, thinking someone might be there, but there is no answer, only the sound of the rain. She listens carefully and follows the sound, which seems to be coming from one of the rooms. She finds a door and pushes it open. When her flashlight beam cuts through the darkness, she sees a horrifying sight. A woman is dead in the room. She turns to run, but as she tries to escape, the home's elevator door opens, and a killer holding a knife steps out. The killer sees her running and speaks, telling her to stop and turn around. The terrified woman stops running. She slowly turns to face the killer. When she sees his face, she recognizes him. It is not a stranger. It is her friend Paul. She is in shock. As she opens her mouth to speak, the entire scene freezes. This whole event was not real. It is a story from a best-selling book. The woman reading the story is the author, Mallory Dearborn. She is at a book signing event, reading a scary chapter to her fans. When she finishes, the audience bursts into applause. One fan in particular, a young woman named Carrie, is clapping louder and more eagerly than anyone else. After the reading, Mallory goes to talk with her agent, Michael. They are discussing her work schedule. But after only a moment, the superfan, Carrie, comes up to them. She is very excited and tells Mallory that she has a popular podcast where she talks about Mallory's books all the time. She asks Mallory to sign her book. As Mallory is signing, Carrie starts to brag. She says she is not just a podcaster, but she also writes mystery books. She tells Mallory that the character Gideon Snow is her favorite, and she really wants Mallory to write another book in that series. But Mallory, who does not want to write that series anymore, suddenly looks very uncomfortable. She does not like being pressured by a fan. Her agent Michael steps in and tells Carrie that Mallory is very busy. Carrie, looking disappointed and a little angry, walks away. Later, as Mallory is leaving the bookstore, she is talking with her agent, Michael. Mallory is clearly upset about something. She is questioning Michael, asking why Wendy is so interested in Mallory's book than other more popular books. Michael, trying to calm her down, suggests that Mallory should just take a break. He tells her to rest for a while, and then she can think about writing new books. Mallory, however, is worried. She tells Michael that if she takes a break, she will lose valuable time and won't be able to write her next book. Michael asks her what this new book is about. Mallory explains that she doesn't want to write just thrillers and mysteries anymore. She wants to write a different kind of novel, something that is more important to her personally. Michael, whose main job is to make money from Mallory's fame, does not like this idea at all. He knows that a personal story will not sell as many copies as her famous thrillers. He is clearly unhappy. Mallory, seeing his expression, tries to make him feel better. She jokes that she will make him a main character in her new book. Michael just brushes it off and tells her they will talk about it tomorrow. He says goodbye and leaves. The next day, Mallory wakes up in her apartment. She makes coffee and reads a book while waiting for Michael to come out. When Michael finally comes out, he asks her, "Have you thought about what we talk about?" Mallory tells him that she has thought about it. She explains that the reason she became a writer was to write many different kinds of books, not just the same one over and over. She tells him firmly that she does not want to write the Gideon Snow series anymore. Michael is visibly annoyed by her decision, but he doesn't argue. He just goes to his meeting with the publisher, Wendy. When Michael gets to the publishing company, Wendy is furious. She tells Michael that he must convince Mallory to write the next Gideon novel. The reason is that Wendy has already taken a huge advance payment from distributors for the new book. If Mallory doesn't write it, the company will be sued, and Wendy will, in turn, sue Mallory for all the money. As Wendy is talking about suing, she notices Michael's strange, guilty expression. She stops and asks him, "Does the writer know about that?" Michael doesn't answer. Wendy realizes the truth. Michael took the advance money without telling Mallory. Wendy is upset, but gives Michael one last chance. She gives him 2 months to fix the problem and get the money back. Michael, who is very crafty and thinks only of himself, comes up with a dark plan. He meets Mallory at a restaurant. He lies to her. He says that he talked to Wendy and that Wendy has agreed to let Mallory write her new personal book. Then, Michael offers her a gift. He tells her she looks tired and should take a break. He offers her his private, secluded house up on a mountain to relax and write. He gives her the key, and Mallory, thinking he is being a kind friend, accepts. And so, Mallory drives up to the lonely mountain house. When she arrives, she looks around. The inside of the house is beautiful, and she thinks it will be a perfect, quiet place to work. She goes to the bedroom, unpacks her things, and puts her cosmetics in the bathroom. Afterward, she goes to the library in the house. She puts her bag on the desk and is about to relax when her phone rings. It's Michael. He is calling to ask her if she is comfortable and if she has everything she needs. Mallory, still believing he is her friend, tells him that everything is perfect. She hangs up the phone, puts on some music, and starts to read. She is reading for a while when she suddenly hears a sound. It sounds like a door opening. She gets up and walks into the hallway. She sees that the front door is open. She calls out, "Hello?" but no one answers. She carefully locks the door and goes back to the library. But she is wrong. She is not alone. Someone did come in when the door was open. A moment later, a person attacks her from behind, and she is knocked unconscious. The next scene shows Mallory's biggest fan, Carrie. She is opening her laptop when she suddenly sees a news report. Mallory Dearborn is dead. Carrie is in total shock. She can't believe it and starts to cry, completely devastated. That same day, the news of the famous author's accidental death becomes a huge story all over the country. But Mallory is not dead. The person who faked her death and sent the false news story is her agent, Michael. He is at his own apartment drinking a glass of wine and celebrating as he watches the news. Then, he goes down to the basement, where he is holding Mallory. After a long time, Mallory finally wakes up. Her head hurts and she is confused. When her eyes focus, she sees Michael and instantly realizes that he has captured her. She tries to run, but she can't. Her hand is chained. All she can do is stare at Michael with hatred. Michael calmly unhooks her chains and gives her a glass of water. Then he shows her a new device locked around her ankle. He tells her it is a GPS tracker. He explains that she can't run away. He then tells her his demand. She must stay here and write the new Gideon Snow novel. Later, Michael lets Mallory come up from the basement. The first thing she does is run to the front door, trying to escape. But as soon as she gets close to the door, the GPS tracker on her ankle starts to beep loudly, sending an alert to Michael's phone. He calls out to her. Defeated, Mallory walks to the kitchen. Michael is there, calmly making her breakfast. Mallory tells him that she won't write about that book, but Michael just pressures her. He tells her that she has no choice, and shows her the library, which will be her new prison. Mallory, trying to find a way out, tries to negotiate. She tells Michael that she will pay back the advance money he took, but Michael just laughs. He tells her that the advance is nothing. A new, posthumous Gideon novel from a dead author will be a huge bestseller, worth much more than the advance. He gives her an ultimatum. She has 90 days to finish the entire book. As they are arguing, they both notice someone walking up to the house. Mallory sees a chance to be saved and tries to scream, but Michael grabs her. He gags her by stuffing a cloth in her mouth and ties her to a chair in the library. He then goes to answer the door. The man outside is a hiker. He is annoying and asks Michael if he can come in for a moment to rest. Michael tries to get rid of him, but the hiker is persistent. Michael, worried that the hiker will become suspicious, finally lets him in. The hiker sits on the sofa. He starts asking Michael a lot of questions. He then notices Mallory's bag on a chair. He sees that it is a woman's bag in a house where only a man is supposed to be. He becomes suspicious. He gets up and says he needs to use the bathroom, but instead, he walks toward the library. He sees the door and tries to open it. Michael, knowing Mallory is in there, tries to stop him, but the hiker opens the door and sees Mallory tied to the chair. He is completely shocked. In that moment of surprise, Michael grabs a knife and stabs the hiker, killing him. Mallory, who watched the whole thing, is horrified. Michael calmly drags the hiker's body outside and buries it. Mallory now knows that Michael is a murderer and that she will never be able to escape. The next day, at the local police station, a communications dispatcher tells the town sheriff to check on a strange 911 call that came from the mountain. The sheriff, thinking it's probably nothing, decides to check it out anyway. A little while later, the sheriff arrives at Michael's house. Michael is surprised but acts calm and invites the sheriff inside. The sheriff explains that he is there because a 911 call came from the area. Michael lies smoothly, saying that he is just staying at the house alone for a little while, ever since his parents died. Mallory, who is locked in the library, hears the sheriff's voice. She starts to bang her hand on the table, making a loud thump, thump, thump. The sheriff hears the noise. But before he can react, Michael lies again. He says that he have to wear earplugs to sleep because of that sound. The sheriff doesn't believe him. He walks toward the library door where the sound is coming from. He is about to open it, but Michael stands in his way. He uses all his charm to talk to the sheriff, convincing him it's just an old house and that everything is fine. He cleverly leads the sheriff back to the door and gets him to leave. Mallory hears the sheriff's car drive away. She is crushed. Her one chance of rescue is gone. Defeated, she goes back to the desk and continues to write the novel that Michael demanded. Every time she finishes a page, Michael comes in and reads it. One day, Mallory has a new idea. She tells Michael that she has finished half the book and needs a break. She asks him to prepare a special dinner for them to celebrate. Michael agrees. Mallory goes to the bathroom. She looks behind the mirror at the cabinet where her cosmetics are. She finds the sleeping pills she had hidden there. She takes several pills, crushes them into a powder, and hides the powder in her hand. That night, they sit down for dinner. Mallory, planning her move, asks Michael if he has any white wine, saying it would go better with her food. She wants to get him to look away so she can put the sleeping pills in his red wine. But Michael, who seems to know what she is thinking, just smiles. He says, "Of course," and pulls out a bottle of white wine that was already on the table. As he starts to explain all about the wine, Mallory takes the chance and dumps the sleeping pill powder into Michael's red wine glass. She thought she was successful, but the powder didn't dissolve completely. Michael, who was watching her the whole time, picks up his glass. He then smiles at her and pours the entire glass of poisoned wine onto his plate of food. Her plan has failed. Michael just tells her to get back to work. Mallory, desperate, comes up with another plan. The next morning, as she is giving her new pages to Michael, she secretly takes a small knife from the cabinet. She hides it in her hand and acts normal. Meanwhile, the world is still talking about Mallory. The news reports that a final unreleased manuscript for a Gideon Snow novel has been found. Mallory's fan, Carrie, hears this news and becomes very suspicious. She finds an old video of Mallory where Mallory said that after she finished a book, she always taken a 1.5-month break before I start writing a new one. Carrie knows Mallory just finished a book before she died. It's impossible for her to have written a whole new one. She decides to investigate. Back at the house, Mallory is trying another escape. She pretends to make coffee for Michael. She then goes back to her laptop and sees that the Wi-Fi signal is briefly connected. She quickly goes online and sees all the news articles about her own death. Michael walks in, and she slams the laptop shut just in time. At the same time, Carrie is calling all of Mallory's friends and neighbors, asking questions, but no one knows how Mallory really died. This makes Carrie even more suspicious. One day, Michael goes to see Wendy, the publisher. He promises her he will deliver the full manuscript before Christmas. He then goes back to the house and pressures Mallory, forcing her to write faster. Mallory has no choice but to agree. As she turns to go back to her room, she pulls out the small knife she had hidden. She tries to stab Michael in the back, but Michael, who seems to know all her tricks, spins around and stops her. He grabs her by the hair and drags her to the room to locking her inside. The cunning Mallory, however, tells that she can't write if she's weak. Michael, annoyed, lets her take some bread and fruit into the room. As she grabs the food, she also grabs a stick of butter. After Michael leaves the house, Mallory puts her plan into action. She takes the butter and rubs it all over her ankle. The butter makes her skin slippery, and she is able to pull her foot out of the GPS tracker. She is free. She found roller in the kitchen, but she knew it won't work, and she found nothing, and disappointed. When Michael comes back, Mallory is prepared. She goes back to her room and pretends to be asleep. At the same time, Carrie, who is still investigating, confronts Wendy. She tells Wendy all about Mallory's 1.5-month break rule, proving that the new manuscript cannot be real. Wendy, who is arrogant, just insults Carrie and tells her to leave, but Carrie doesn't give up. She goes to the reception desk, pretends to be a delivery person, and tricks Evelyn into giving her Michael's home address. Back at the house, the sheriff returns for a third time. He is in the yard, acting like he is just looking around, but he is searching. He finds a small object in the dirt, but Michael comes out and lies, saying the object is his. The sheriff, with no real proof, has to leave again. A few days later, Mallory tells Michael that she has finished the book. Then they drink wine to celebrate. Back at the police station, the sheriff sees the dispatcher reading a Gideon Snow novel. The sheriff mentions that he got a copy of that book as a gift from the author's agent, Michael. The dispatcher looks at him, confused, and said that the author, Mallory Dearborn, died recently. In that moment, the sheriff realizes everything. He knows Michael is something different. He races back to his car and speeds toward the mountain house. At the house, Mallory is telling Michael about the book's ending. As he is distracted, she smashes her heavy laptop over his head. She grabs his gun from his hip. She points the gun at him and backs him up toward the front door. But just as she reaches the door, the crafty Michael lunges at her. They fight over the gun and he gets it back. He aims it at her. Mallory runs for her life, finds a place to hide, and uses her phone to call 911, but Michael finds her. He grabs her and drags her back into the living room, ready to kill her. Just at that moment, the front door bursts open. It's Carrie. She sees Michael holding a gun on Mallory, and without thinking, she tackles him. As they fall, the gun slides across the floor. Mallory grabs the gun. She aims it at Michael. Just then, the sheriff arrives, his own gun drawn. He sees Michael on the floor and Mallory holding the weapon, and he arrests Michael. After everything is over, Mallory and Carrie have partnered up and have co-written a new book. The two friends walk away, and the story comes to an end. Thank you for watching this interesting movie recap. We will continue to present amazing movies like this all the time, so please like and subscribe to this channel. Thanks for watching.